महात्मा गांधी में आग लग रही भाई.
Details in this report clearly show us, and these completely rip apart Justice Varma's already very fragile line of defense. Video evidence of his staff's presence and complicity. Let's first see the video. This has been shot by one of the first responders on the intervening night of 14th and 15th of March.
महात्मा गांधी में आग लग रही भाई.
Now, after this report was submitted to the Chief Justice of India on the 3rd of May, he wrote to Justice Varma the next day, giving him the option to either resign or take voluntary retirement. However, 2 days later, Justice Varma responded on the 6th of May by calling the findings perverse and the probe unfair. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Season 2 of Operation Order. Yesterday on the NewsHour, I exposed the midnight mystery and the stacks of burning cash. Today, I will get you the inside story of the outhouse, the smoking gun and the 230 seconds of possible cover-up in the shroud of darkness. First, a quick recap. We are the only channel to have access and seen, and yours truly, standing right here, has seen the report, has noted down the contents of the report to the details of the page numbers as well as the paragraph numbers. Everything part of the report accessed by me. And the contents of this signed 64-page report of the 3-judge panel appointed by the then Chief Justice of India after Justice Yashwant Varma found himself in the eye of a blazing storm. The scene of the alleged crime was 30 Tughlaq Crescent in New Delhi, the official residence of Justice Varma, who at that time was a sitting judge of the Delhi High Court, on the intervening night of 14th and 15th of March. Yesterday, we showed you how the report indicted Justice Varma of misconduct, proof of cash found in his storeroom. We revealed how access was only with his family and members of his staff, and that the burnt cash had been removed by his staff. Not my conclusions, but the conclusions of the 3-judge committee appointed by former Chief Justice of India, Sanjeev Khanna. Today, I will expose Justice Varma's hide-and-seek with facts and how he was caught out in a web of embellishments, omissions and contradictions by his own peers, the judges who were part of this panel. Remember, the panel has recommended Justice Varma be removed or asked to resign, and this process may begin as early as the monsoon session. So let the storm begin. Mahatma Gandhi mein aag lag rahi hai bhai. This is what a firefighter said in complete shock. Not only were notes on fire, currency notes with Mahatma Gandhi on them. This video has singed the trust of a nation built on Mahatma Gandhi's ideals. And listen very carefully. It is here that someone can be seen calling out to Rahil. Yes, the same Mohammad Rahil, who is a key resident staff member of Justice Varma, and Rahil's presence was confirmed in the storeroom when the first responders to the fire saw the burnt piles of cash. Let's remind you of this telling video.
महात्मा गांधी में आग लग रही भाई. महात्मा गांधी में आग लग रही भाई. महात्मा गांधी में आग लग रही भाई.
First, let's get you the magnitude of the currency notes discovered. Picture this. Wall-to-wall stacks of half-burnt cash lying on the floor, 1.5 feet high. This is the testimony of witness number 20, Umesh Malik, who is the SHO of Tughlaq Road Police Station. He says what he saw. And he says half-burnt cash was lying on the floor. He also says from the entrance of the store to the wall in front, there were sacks of cash lying around. He also says the stack of half-burnt cash was on the ledge, and you have videos of that being dusted. This was also 1.5 feet on the right of the room when he saw. Notes from door to opposite wall. All of this part of witness number 20, Umesh Malik, SHO of the police station on Tughlaq Road, which responded to the call. Then, contention was staff and family were kept out of the outhouse. That is what Justice Varma's defense was. The committee notes that's not true. Both Karki, the private secretary of Justice Varma, and Rahil were present, because you can hear the name Rahil being called out. You don't believe me? Look at this video and hear Rahil, and the voice is identified by all on location as that of Karki, the private secretary. Both then clearly present, listening.
महात्मा गांधी में आग लग रही भाई। महात्मा गांधी में आग लग रही भाई। महात्मा गांधी में आग लग रही भाई।
Rahil, very clear there. And this is not my video. This is the video put by the Supreme Court on the website. Excerpt number 2. Domo and daughter saw the cash? That's the question we are asking. The excerpt clearly says here, and let me see this. Who's the major domo here? The major domo is Mohammad Rahil, being referred as major domo, not my words, words used by the 3-member committee in this reference. Rahil and Diya Varma, daughter of Justice Varma, who was in the house, went after the fire was doused. Both Rahil and Diya were present, as was Karki. Domo and daughter saw cash. The indictment is Rahil was major domo, chief steward working in Justice Varma. That is the contention of Justice Varma. This is what the indictment says. There is an excerpt number 3. Why was the storeroom sealed on 25th March? Who had the key to the outhouse? Both these questions and the details present right here. It was inspected on 25th March and sealed on 26th March. Actually, the fire took place on the 15th of March, intervening night of 14th and 15th. Why did it take 12 days to seal the storeroom? Justice Varma should have got it locked, not to tamper. The police could have got it locked. The knowledge was with the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court, could have got it locked, because it was the scene where this enormous amount of cash was found. But for 12 days, this storeroom was not sealed. And this burning question really defies any logic. And who had the keys to the outhouse was another big question. And what does the report really say? The storeroom was not really. Why take 5 days is the question. Who had the key? 25th to 26th March, when it was once again sealed, everybody kept saying who had the key. The committee, actually in paragraph 7, well, here it clearly says, why take 5 days after the news broke? Also, witness number 8, Bhavar Singh says, change in the state of debris on the floor after 11 days. In fact, they say that when they came in on the 14th of March, the debris on the floor was burnt cash. On 15th of March in the morning when they came, this had completely gone. The debris on the floor of the storeroom was something else. Where did all the burnt cash go? That is the question. Also, don't Karki and Rahul know where it went? They were very much present. This is the question that was asked. Would it be cleaned without Justice Varma's nod? That is the question that the committee also asked. And proof really coming in. For 20 years, witness number 9 kept saying that for 20 years in his service, he has never seen this amount of cash that was present. Also, another excerpt says, liquor twist existed. There were liquor bottles on the left of the storeroom, and due to the liquor bottles, the fire intensity increased. Notes visible on the floor next to the firefighter. Witness number 9, Pravindra Malik, the fire officer, says this. Also, there is another place where there is a statement being made by one of the fire officers who said higher-ups are involved, no action will be taken, and higher-up and cover-ups were literally being spoken about. I was bewildered and I spoke to my senior officer who says this, Suman Kumar, witness number 10 in the list of witnesses before the committee. I was told by my senior that higher-ups were involved, asked not to take any further action. So the fire officers, I reluctantly got in touch with Karki. Karki is the PS of Varma. Karki said fire was in stationery and domestic items. Incident was witnessed by one and all. Jal raha tha cash, but stationery was named as something that was being burnt. Why? Because senior fire officials were telling them, bade log hain, don't get into it. Who was this? Still remains to be answered. Who saw the cash? Well, let me tell you, the report outlines so many people. Witness number 3, Ankit Sehwag, fire officer, saw the cash. Witness number 5, Pradeep Kumar, fire officer, saw the cash. Manoj Mehlawat, fire service officer, witness number 6, saw the cash. Witness number 8, Bhavar Singh, driver of the fire tender, saw the cash. Witness 9, Pravindra Malik, fire officer, saw the cash. Witness 10, Suman Kumar, fire officer, saw the cash. Witness 13, head constable of the Tughlaq Road police station, Rajesh Kumar, saw the cash. Witness 15, head constable Sunil Kumar, saw the cash. Witness 17, head constable Roop Chand, saw the cash. Witness number 20, Umesh Malik, SHO of the Tughlaq Road police station, saw the cash. So many people, all 10 of them saw the cash, yet Justice Varma said there was no cash. And apart from these, there was Rahil, there was Karki, and there was Diya Varma present. 13 people, yet an attempt to say there was no cash. Let's look at the next excerpt. Diya Varma and the committee notes Diya Varma's different versions. Got to know burnt cash the next day is her first statement on April 7th to the committee. Then retraction happened on April 12th. Diya was overwhelmed and panicked. That is why, she said what she said, and she wanted to retract that statement. The committee has rejected the request to retract, it says. And the reason that it cites, confident, independent working woman. Why would be she so overwhelmed when she was the one who was making calls? She was the one who later told the police, "Aag bujh gayi hai, mat aao." But the police had already come. Well, come to the conclusions yourself. Belies the statement that she was overwhelmed. Panel also confirmed that she called fire department, said fires under control, no need to come. Why? Was something being hidden? That's the question. And the committee gives its verdict. There is also a 230-second mystery call between Karki and Justice Yashwant Varma on a WhatsApp call the same day when the fire was taking place. Early morning, March 15th. Time duration 230 seconds. Para number 40 is where this is mentioned. The indictment is cleaning done in wee hours of March 15th. And the question we are asking is, did Justice Varma order a cleanup? Could the cleanup have happened without his instructions? Questions. And the police says, and this is noted by the committee, police left at 1 a.m. Only staff and kin were at home till the next morning, wee hours of the morning. And when the next day the fire services and police came, the cash was gone, the debris had been removed. And this is the indictment of the Committee of Judges. Why was there no FIR? The committee said, not our ambit to find fault with the police and the fire department, who refused to seal the room. Where did the money go? Why was it cleaned up? All of this remains as a question. And in the end, para 62, unnatural conduct of Justice Varma, if it's a conspiracy, and this is the most important part, why no complaint was filed if Justice Varma said this was a conspiracy? This is the indictment of the three-judge committee. If it's a conspiracy, why did he not file a complaint? Why not complain to the police or the High Court Chief Justice or the Chief Justice of India? The committee raises this question. Why did he accept the transfer? Also noted by the committee in paragraph 62. He quietly accepted the transfer on March 20th at 4:15 p.m. He could have responded till 9 a.m. on March 21st, but he accepted it at 4:15 p.m. the previous day. Didn't attempt to find out reason for transfer. That is why the trust reposed in him was belied by him, is the conclusion. So, ladies and gentlemen, quietly accepting transfer, not filing for decision on the fact that there was a conspiracy against him, are questions that Justice Varma failed to answer, failed to convince the committee, and that's why the legitimate question that we're asking on the NewsHour tonight is simply this. Has the burden of truth now shifted to Justice Varma? That really is the question. And the question we are asking tonight, can Justice voluntarily retire or resign? That's the question, and that's the debate on the other side.
You're watching the NewsHour at 9, debate number 1, on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining me tonight on the NewsHour, Justice S.N. Dhingra, retired judge of the Delhi High Court. Also joining me this evening, Aman Lekhi, senior advocate in the Supreme Court, former ASG. Matthews N. Nedumpara, petitioner in the Justice Varma case, senior lawyer and president of the National Lawyers Campaign for Judicial Transparency. Karuna Nandi, senior advocate. Ishkaran Bhandari, senior advocate, also on the show. I want to ask you, Justice Dhingra, the crying question tonight simply is this. The question that Justice Varma's defense so far has been on: complete conspiracy that has been hatched against him, and that there is no truth to the allegations, which is the reason he's not resigning. But the committee looks at that as well and says that if it was a conspiracy, the police needed the sanction of the Chief Justice to file an FIR, but Justice Varma needed no sanction from anybody. If there was a conspiracy, he could have filed a complaint or an FIR. He could have sent a complaint even to the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court or the Chief Justice of India at that time, which he didn't do. Also, he meekly accepted his transfer even before the time to respond to it remained. I want to ask you, does this charge by the committee hold against Justice Varma?
See, I think this report ultimately would only lead to impeachment proceeding and nothing else. If the committee did not have mandate even to go into the question where from the cash came, why no action was taken by police, who was responsible for not securing the premises, why the evidence was allowed to be washed away and taken out, then what is the benefit of such an investigation? The investigation was only, that means only into one fact, whether the cash was got burnt into the house of Justice Varma or not. This was known to everybody. I don't know what committee has done by recording 50 or 60 witnesses, except coming to conclusion, yes, cash was there and it was burnt. We have wasted the valuable time of 3 judges who came to Delhi and investigated a fact which could be seen from one video. Was this the purpose of investigation? To find out whether cash was burnt or not? The purpose of investigation should have been where from this cash came and why action was not taken immediately. Who allowed the evidence to be taken out from that room? And why FIR was not registered? You see, there was no necessity of registering an FIR initially. Only a daily diary report could have been made in the police station in the respect of whatever had been observed by the police. Photographs were taken, should have been taken, attached with the daily diary. And then the police should have locked the premises and waited for nod from Chief Justice of Delhi High Court or from the Supreme Court, whosoever was supposed to give them the nod for registering FIR. See, it is very surprising that the manner in which our Supreme Court proceeded and the mandate given to the committee had no mandate to go into all these lapses. Why? Also, I am surprised.
Important
what
question.
What is this investigation done?
Important question. But then, this investigation, should it have been done only by a committee of judges? Should it have been done by an agency which can investigate forensically? Questions that we've been asking from day one. But the big question tonight, and Aman Lekhi, this question goes to you. The big question tonight is, the entire defense, the entire point being made by Justice Varma is that there is a conspiracy against him, and that is the reason this entire case has been built up against him. The fact that he said there was no cash, he has no idea that storeroom was open to anybody. All of these issues have been settled by the committee. Number one, the committee report not yet in public domain. The fact that it has been finalized and sent, on the 4th of May, and we're sitting on the 28th of May, 24 days later, still wondering what exists. I know, but the world doesn't, the public doesn't. Aren't these questions that need to be answered? And above all, if there was a conspiracy, why did Justice Varma not file a complaint? And number two, why did he meekly accept his transfer at that stage? Not raise any questions then, why raise these questions now?
Well, Navika, very important issues you've raised. I would say this is a case both of misfeasance and non-feasance. Misfeasance where Justice Varma is concerned, and non-feasance where the agency surrounding is concerned, because there's clearly breach of fiduciary duty which a judge owes to the people generally, in which case the gentleman had false to the judge, and a dereliction of statutory duties which have got a public purpose and involves the police and other agencies present at the spot, basically to deal with issues like the one which were raised at Justice Varma's house. I personally find that the whole case is utterly bizarre, and I say it's bizarre because when you see these things, what you normally anticipate is conduct which a reasonable man would in a similar circumstance take. And what actually strikes us as something which is absolutely incoherent is what you have flagged, that is the silence of Justice Varma. Now, the silence of a person who claims to be wronged puts a question mark on his grievance of his being a victim, because a victim is obliged to speak and in some way assert the victimhood by suggesting that he is being made subject of a conspiracy to cause him harm. And the biggest indicator that things are not as has been stated by Justice Varma is his own silence. This is the first thing. Two, as far as the agencies are concerned, as Justice Dhingra pointed out, I, while mostly agreeing with what he said, will vary from his opinion, because he said a daily diary needed to be entered and thereafter permission had to be sought from the Chief Justice, and I differ where that is concerned, because if the case was as Justice Varma stated, then Justice Varma would not have been the subject matter of the investigation. The investigation would be the incident. As the investigation had to be the incident, in that event, he did not need the nod of the Chief Justice. And had an FIR been registered, because there was occasion, the quantum of the cash, the nature of the incident, the whole suspicious nature of the circumstances, the suggestion of cognizable offences, then the necessary steps would have followed, including seizure of what is there, closure of the place and examination of witnesses, so that we would not be speculating as to what has happened. And as even the committee is saying, that valuable time has been lost insofar as this particular process is concerned. This is in fact the second issue which I flagged. Three, the silence of Justice Varma and the omission to act, and so far as the statutory agency is concerned, has been seen with the delay in which the entire corrective exercise, including the in-house procedure, took. Now, the delay coupled with the first two to form a coherent pattern, and the coherent pattern is one of reluctance, the reluctance to proceed. Now, the reluctance to proceed when there is an obvious wrong itself raises questions, because if an incident like this happens in your house or mine, and something like this is something which we are confronted with, I don't think that the system would be reluctant, diffident, or delayed in its operation. Now, when the system is in some way reluctant, in the circumstances which are rather self-evident, and one is confused as to why action is not happening, then quite obviously there are larger interests at play beyond what is manifestly present for us to see. Now, if there are certain things behind what is to be seen, that means that itself shows that there is some wrong which is in some way motivating this entire process. And when there is a wrong motivating the process itself will be vitiated. So what you actually pointed out is actually a distortion. And what should be actually a state of exception, that is, when there is a wrong, the law has to kick in and the process should come into place. That is the normal rule which will follow. In exceptional situations, this may not happen for cause. But in this particular case, unfortunately, the exception is the norm. And because the exception becomes the norm, in that event, the whole process gets discredited. Which brings me to the final point. Why am I flagging it? I am flagging it because it concerns the judiciary. And when it concerns the judiciary, we have the judge, who I believe should be the epitome of integrity, honesty and fairness, because he is the most visible symbol of the justice system. And if the visible symbol of justice system in some way tainted, then the confidence in the system goes. One. Two, the process, you assume that the process would be objective. But if you find incidents like these, that means the process is in some way corrupted. And the process is corrupted and the judge is not trusted, then the outcome cannot possibly be just. And if the outcome cannot possibly be just, the efficacy of the system is undermined. And because the efficacy of the system is undermined, immediacy is the requirement. And because immediacy is the requirement and immediacy is compromised because the way in which this process has happened, this doesn't portray the system in a good light at all. And even where this method of intimating the Prime Minister President is concerned, please understand, this is very important, this point is not flagged. This is not the commencement of the impeachment process. The impeachment process is a completely different process. The impeachment process requires the procedure under the Judges Inquiry Act. Intimation to the President, the Prime Minister, is not the commencement of the impeachment process. So what is happening today is, we do not have the commencement of the impeachment process because that involves a certain number of MPs. We do not have the criminal process in play, and all we are doing is discussing a matter in the air. Insofar as the tangible action is concerned, the tangible action is absent, which I think is rather
absolutely. And that's the crux of the point. The tangible action is zero at this point. The in-house committee report, if it doesn't allow you to file an FIR, what is the worth of this report? If it can't make the judge resign, you're actually giving the judge an opportunity to either resign or to take voluntary retirement. It is almost as if there is a Lucknowi tehzeeb going on here, ke huzur, jana chahenge ke nahi jana chahenge. Is that something that really can happen in a case of this kind, Karuna Nandi? And the question that really begs an answer, because this is the judiciary, there is the need for perception as well as confidence of the people in the judiciary. Now here is a case where three brother judges from different high courts, their chief justices, are sitting in a committee. They found a lie being stated, which is the lie of that there was no cash. The lie, where did it come from? It came from Justice Varma. The second thing it rules that, can he explain the cash? He cannot explain the cash. He denies the fact that his family or staff were present, but it gets rejected. That turns out to be a lie again, because the committee says people from his household and people from his staff were present there. Then there is the situation of he doesn't know where the cash went, when again it is proved that it was removed by the staff, and there is the 230-second phone call on the early hours of 15th morning, which raises the doubt that was this done with the explicit instructions from Justice Varma. All these lies, coupled with the fact that there is a conspiracy which he doesn't complain against, there is a transfer which he doesn't complain against. Is there still truth that we are looking for and zero action in this case? What does this really show to the people of India?
I think the reason that this case is unfortunate is because there is a cloud over, and a very serious cloud, over a member of the judiciary, which has not been resolved as yet. As Justice Dhingra was saying, there is a report of this inquiry committee that you have had access to, but none of us have seen. And we are the lawyers on this panel, right? Ideally, this report, as you said earlier, would have been released. There was a very salutary move by Chief Justice Khanna, and a very unprecedented move, in swiftly putting together an inquiry committee of judges that he would not know. You're right, brother judges, and you're right about that, but judges that he would not know from unrelated high courts, right? That investigation should have revealed some kind of truth that was then made public. I think the reason I say that this was a very salutary move by Chief Justice Khanna is because such a sort of probe committee quite similar to this would have kicked in had the impeachment process begun. So he's getting a move on that, and he is putting together his own committee and making sure that there is a probe and there is a swift enough probe. But where are we today? We have a situation on the one hand where you are telling us that this inquiry report finds all these things like the fact that Justice Varma was lying, they say, the fact that the daughter made a statement, was panicked, retracted it. Now, we don't know whether that's true or not, but they reject that. But on the other hand, it appears to me, because I saw the extract, I was very carefully trying to read the extract that you were putting out, because I don't have the inquiry report in front of me. And the extract seemed to say that the burden of proof has reversed. It seems to say this in very explicit terms. Cash was found, he can't explain the cash. Now, say cash is planted in your or my house, right? And it's not my cash, I can't explain the cash. The earlier report, the report that we did have access to, said that it was an outhouse, that not just the family, that all sorts of people had access to it, that there was staff, there was PWD officials, and these official residences, to the extent I know, have police everywhere. Apparently it was near the staff quarters, and there's now some doubt being shed on whether it was a staff member of his or whether it was Justice Varma himself. Now the thing is that the question is toxic in and of itself. Because once you have a legitimate cloud, and it's a perfectly legitimate cloud, over a member of the judiciary, there has to be a conclusion. So therefore, I think this inquiry report absolutely has to be made public. And if that inquiry report shows, which it seems that the members of the journalist community, including you, believe that it is robust enough to cast very, very serious doubt, and Chief Justice Khanna has recommended impeachment, right? It should be made public. Once the impeachment process begins, there is also an opportunity to respond. There is a probe committee that is set up, questions are put, and it's not that, once the government moves for impeachment that it's all over. Let the probe be public. Let his response be public. Let us see what is going on, because for justice to be done in this case is very, very important. Now, the reason that, I think Mr. Lekhi was saying that if it was in your or my house, immediately there would be an FIR. That's absolutely right, Mr. Lekhi. But I do, and I agree with you, that nobody is above the law. And everyone should have to face a very robust process when there is this kind of allegation and when it's backed up by, burnt cash, right? But at the same time, I will say this, that the reason that judges are protected by a separate process is because every single day they are called upon to make decisions against or for, in favor of, the largest litigant in the courts, which is the government. They are called upon to make decisions against the mafia, big mafia dons. They are called upon to make decisions against all manner of powerful people while not giving up.
But that Karuna Nandi doesn't take away from the questions that come out. If he thinks it is a conspiracy, there should have been a complaint by him. That did not require anybody's permission. Why did he accept the transfer if he was being wronged and, the truth was being piled against him and, all that was coming out was not exactly fair to him? The protest should have come earlier, is the premise. And none of this, it's not about journalists saying this report is robust. Who am I? These are 3 judges and 3 chief justices in 3 different high courts. How are we, even qualified to comment on whether the report is robust or not? I happen to have read the entire report, taken copious notes, paragraph numbers, page numbers, seen the copy of the report, but not everybody has. So transparency, yes, absolutely preeminent. But these questions have not to be settled by journalists. These questions have been settled by that committee. And therefore, I'm asking you, Ishkaran Bhandari, we have an in-house committee that has given this report. It is still not giving a permission for an FIR. The impeachment process will still require another investigation by a committee of judges. What are we doing? Is this entire process going to take 5 years, and then meanwhile the judge can continue to remain a judge, retire when he feels like with all the perks intact? Is this the message that we are trying to send, Ishkaran Bhandari?
Navika ji, the old philosophical question of who will guard the guards, who will judge the judges, we are still grappling with it in 2025. The only difference is we have an independent media and exemplary journalists like you, that this question of what the report is has come out in public domain. But the ancient query still subsists because there are multiple factors here. Firstly, what has happened and what needs to happen. These are the 2 burning questions. So what has happened is that I think for the first time in an unprecedented and a great move, the Supreme Court immediately constituted a committee of senior judges because the judge under question said it's a conspiracy. These 3 senior judges have given a time-bound report because when the committee was formed, there was a big dispute when the report would come. In India, committees are formed, there are no conclusions. This, as you read out, I have not had access to it, but is as decisive a report as it can be. The three questions: was there cash? They seem to have answered yes, there was cash. Is there a legitimate explanation? They don't find a legitimate explanation. Where did the cash disappear? They say that has to be investigated because it's not an explanation which satisfies anybody. 55 witnesses, including witnesses who have seen the cash. So all that has now come on record and is documented. Not only that, they have gone into the conduct of the judge in question and said that they do not find it satisfactory. A recent example from Bombay High Court, where one judge felt that there was some conspiracy against him, he directed the police to investigate. When the police investigates an occurrence, it goes into all directions. It is not controllable. Why was that not done if Justice Varma felt that he was the victim of a conspiracy? Of course, the panel has taken it into consideration and not found it satisfactory. What had to be done after that? The Supreme Court posted certain reports, also the video. Should this have been made public? I believe it should have been made public, and you are making it public. I hope you post it later on also. But it has been sent to the president.
Only
if
all the lawyers on this panel, agree to protect me if the court were to take me to cleaners, which, as a lay person, I don't know. I'm scared of the court. But they seem to be above everything, demigods that we have. But let me also get in Mahesh Chetmalani. Where would you say is the lapse in this entire process? 76 days later, we are still talking kya hua, kaise hua, kahan hua, and what is the corrective action? Where is the lapse? Is it the police officials who did not register a case one way or another? Or is it the law in itself that offers such protection to judges that they are beyond criminal reproach? Is that what an independent judiciary really means to people of India?
Well, I don't know. Everybody seems to be frozen in this matter. You please look at if somebody else had this kind of money discovered in his outhouse premises accidentally because of fire, right? What would have been the reaction? Everybody would have been condemning the press would have taken it up, the judiciary would have taken it up, suo motu, lawyers would have been screaming for blood, etc. But in this case, the response, people should be a little outraged by this. Things are happening. Nobody's saying things aren't happening. There's a 3-judge inquiry and so on and so forth. But there should have been an FIR by the local police station which has jurisdiction over the territory where the judge resides, the judge's residence. FIR should have been lodged. And by now, certainly, that police station should have been asking for an investigation. I know Veeraswamy's case says that you can't have an investigation against a High Court judge and superior judges without prior permission of the CJI. But now that permission should be expressly sought, and I have no doubt that the present Chief Justice of India will do his duty according to law.
Well, the last Chief Justice has gone away. The new Chief Justice, well, will he look at this? Because the report has gone to the President and the Prime Minister. In the meanwhile, will there be action? Will there not be action? The committee, conclusive in its report, the Chief Justice has taken a call. The man must resign, take voluntary retirement, or be removed. Yet, we are sitting here, twiddling our thumbs, wondering what next. How is it going to proceed? And Matthews Nedumpara, you're the petitioner in this case. The Supreme Court has refused to take your case because this report cannot be put in public domain. So are we back to square one? Transparency be damned?
I have an opinion which is slightly different from the other panelists. Here, the court has no role to play. Supreme Court has no role to play. It's a crime. It is the police to register an FIR and investigate. The judges are not above law. All are equal before law. What is applicable is the Code of Criminal Procedure or the current new criminal law. And when where a cognizable offence has occurred, it is a duty of the police to register an FIR. And that was not done in the name of Veerasamy. Veerasamy is only a judgment, and that judgment binds the parties to that case. And if some principle is laid down in that case, it can be used as a precedent in a subsequent case. And Veerasamy is nothing but legislation. And no court has the power to legislate. What Veerasamy says, that you cannot register an FIR without the prior permission of the Chief Justice of India, is contrary to the statute. And if there is a conflict between a statute and a judgment, the statute will prevail. So therefore, this is something the legal fraternity has to take it up, number one. This is a case where there is complete violation of the concept of rule of law. The committee which the Chief Justice
You say
constituted,
that while we are waiting for justice to be done in this entire case, all of us have questions. Nobody has the answers. And that really is the big and the saddest part of this entire case. Questions tumbling out almost as if it's a flood that's taking place. But the question is also this: why are there no answers? Who is supposed to take the decision? Is it the executive, meaning the government? Is it the Chief Justice, meaning the Judiciary? Is there an FIR going to be registered by somebody, the police or the Judiciary giving its nod? In the meanwhile, does the person who has the finger pointing at him continue in office? Questions that keep tumbling out, answers absolutely scant. What is the value of this report if it is not in public domain? And what happens to the process of removal? When will it begin? How much time will it take? In the meanwhile, if the justice retires from his tenure, is there going to be any punishment that follows? Or is there going to be any acquittal that can take place? Who's going to be the judge in the case of judges? It is the question, because legalese that has been spoken by all the esteemed panelists today is enough to scare the common man like some of us. We're not lawyers. We don't understand the legal language. We only know that there has been something that is strange that has taken place, which is the finding of burnt cash, something that has been ratified by the High Court Chief Justice in March, by the Chief Justice of India at that time, and now by the 3-judge committee. What is the action after that? Well, it's zero up until now. Will it remain like that? Will it be static? The more powerful you are, the more protection that you get. And is this the law of the land? I don't know. Can law be different for different people? That is the question the citizen of India is asking tonight. Thank you very much to all my panelists for joining me on the News Hour.